Good morning and welcome to a new video on my 2019 C43 AMG Coupe. So the last video we installed this Rentex style carbon fiber spoiler, which I am absolutely loving. This thing is so beautiful in person. It's just absolutely perfect. If you didn't check out that video, definitely go take a look. Really pleased with that. Today, we have something else that's going on the rear of the car. So, what do you think it could be? It's a long box. Haven't even unwrapped it yet. Hopefully they ship me the right parts. It's going to be a diffuser. So, this is the Facelift diffuser, which you get the quad round exhaust tips. You get the 4 fins in the middle. And it's not bad looking, you know. As far as stock exhausts go, or should I say stock exhaust tips go, it doesn't look too bad. I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of shrouding around the tips. You're definitely missing out on a lot of space where the exhaust tips could be bigger. You know, like they could have made these another, I don't know, ½ inch bigger and they still would have fit just fine in the space. So that's something that I'm the biggest fan about. And you're also missing the diffuser lower plate that kind of is called like the bottom. I forget what the piece is called from Mercedes. It's like the lower diffuser aero piece. It's basically the plate that goes on the bottom that kind of closes out the bottom of the diffuser. This one doesn't have it. So we're going to address that today. So let's get this unboxed and I'll show you guys exactly what I've bought. Okay, so I got it most of the way unwrapped. You can see here we have the C63 style exhaust tips in the chrome finish. I really wanted to keep the chrome because I feel like it stands out much better than the gloss black does. And if you compare the size, you can see that the C63 style tips are significantly bigger. They will completely fill the opening in the diffuser. And I also like this rectangular style. I think this is definitely more AMG kind of esque. You know, this is typical for the AMGs that you get these rectangular shaped exhausts. So I think that's going to look really sweet. I did the same upgrade on my C450 and I absolutely loved how it looked in the end. So I think this car is going to look even better with these square C63 tips that are going to be larger with the diffuser panel as well. So that brings me on to the next part. Let's get this guy unwrapped and take a look at what we have here. All right, so I got the diffuser piece unwrapped. Let's take a look at this and see what it looks like. Wow. Take a look what I have now and look at this. See what I mean with this lower diffuser closeout panel? It just looks so much more complete with that bottom piece kind of framing the bottom of the diffuser. It just makes the back look lower and just, I don't know, it just looks way more aggressive with this style of diffuser, with this middle section closed out like that. As you can see, it's factory style with all the clips, which is really nice. And yeah, looks to be pretty straightforward. Same as the one that I did on my C450. It still, so it already has the parking sensor receptacles right here. All of the various clips for the shrouding brackets that go on the back. So it should be really straightforward. It's basically just a couple of rivets to drill out, a couple of screws, and then I can just unsnap the diffuser. So let's, I'll have to raise the car up so that I have access enough to get my drill. But that should be straightforward. So yeah, let's get the car raised up and we'll start the process. This is really exciting. I can't wait to see how this is gonna look on the C43. So yeah, let's get started. All right, so this is what I've done. I jacked the car up and slid a rhino ramp underneath one side. As you can see, I've now got plenty of room to work. And I think looking at this diffuser gives me a good reference. It's been quite a while since I've done this splitter removal. Sorry, this diffuser removal. You have a screw on the very corner. The rest of this is clips. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on the bottom. I'll have to see if that matches up with what's on there right now. And then obviously we have all of the bracketry that's on the back of the diffuser, which I believe, if I remember correctly, will come off complete with the diffuser once I remove it. So I just need to get underneath and take a look and see exactly what screws are situated. I know there's one on the very outside edge right there, but as for the middle ones, I'm not sure. So I'll get underneath now and take a look. All right, so going off the new diffuser as a reference, I can see we have a bolt hole at the top. We have these 4 along the back edge, and everything else is clips. So if we go ahead and underneath the car here, we can see that one bolt at the corner there, a small Torx head. These are all for the exhaust, which is going to stay connected until after the diffuser is removed. And then this bolt and this bolt are the only ones securing, because all the bracketry is connected to the back of the diffuser. So the diffuser is going to come off with all of this plastic supporting brackets connected to it. So I just need to undo those 2 bolts, and then on each side there is a screw in the corner, and I should be able to just unsnap the diffuser. And then once it's unsnapped, I'll be able to just unclip the parking sensor from the back. I don't have the courtesy open for the trunk, so there's no kind of box-shaped connector thing in the middle to mess around with, so that's a little bit easier. But obviously the parking sensors are the only thing that I think... It's been a while since I've done this. I did it like 3 years ago on my C450, but I just remember it being only a couple of bolts. So I think this one, the corner ones, as soon as I start unpopping the front clips, we should get a good idea if there's anything else that needs to come off. But I'm going to start with these, and I'll get you guys an update in a minute. So I got a 10 mil socket on my extension. So should be able to just slacken these off and then take them out by hand in a second. Yep, just slacken it off, take it out by hand. So 2 of these 10 mils, I already popped out the Torx screw ones using the just like a screwdriver attachment on with a Torx bit. I put a rag down so that it's a little bit nicer to work, and also once I pull this off, I can just rest it straight on the floor. Come on, it's not ratcheting now because it's lost resistance. It's already loose. See? Super easy. So that's it. I don't think there's anything else to really remove. This guy should pretty much just pop out now. I don't see anything else because these rivets are all connected to the brackets, which are, yeah, because like all of this should just come together with the diffuser. So let's see. I'm gonna start popping some clips out here and see what happens. All right, so I just drilled out 2 small rivets. One hiding in the hole over there, same on the other side. And as you can see, I drilled out the rivet, and now this piece is free to move. I just unsnapped it. So now, as you can see, we're starting to get some clips undone. So I'm gonna move my way across and then disconnect the parking sensors. All right, so I decided to put some masking tape just across the edge of the blue bumper here so that I don't scuff it, because these clips are loose now and I don't want them to be rubbing against the paint as I undo the diffuser. I did end up also drilling out 2 rivets here, one guy there and the other guy right there. Seemed like they were holding on, so just used my drill, just took the top of the rivet off, super easy. So I've got basically 4 rivets have been drilled out now, the ones that were hiding behind the corner, and then 1 on each side behind the exhaust tips there. So they should be loose. It certainly feels really loose. I think this is going to come off. I also unsnapped 1 electrical connector, which was right there. I'm not sure if that's for the parking sensor loom, but I think it could be. So let's keep going. All right, I feel like we're almost there. There's these body colored clips here, these blue kind of rectangular clips here that are obviously part of the bumper. And there's a clip that's going in there. It's actually reverse, so it's going in from the back. You can see this guy is not yet undone. So I just put some masking tape so I don't mess up the paint, and just put a screwdriver in and just popped it back. This side feels like it's ready to come out now. So I just need to pop this one out as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the factory diffuser removed. A little bit more difficult than the C450 that I previously did. I used my Dremel to get these rivets out that were up inside here behind the exhaust brackets. So I had to get those. Thankfully I didn't mess the plastic up too much. That's just from there. Yeah, not too bad. I had to get up in there with my Dremel and just kind of grind the top of those off. Not too worried about the factory diffuser. These aren't that expensive. So if I needed to get another one, I could. So I just have this to transfer over. I'm not going to be reusing these brackets because this is going to be different. So just the electrical piece here. I'm assuming this part of the bracket will have to transfer, but the centerpiece that's supplied with the kit, if this is going to focus, this centerpiece is going to be different, as is the bracketry for the exhaust tips. So yeah, those pieces need to be swapped. So I'm going to go and remove this now, the shroud and the tips, and then I can start to put together the new diffuser. So that's what it looks like naked. So yeah, let's get these tips removed. Exhaust tips are removed. As you can see, they came off complete with all of the brackets, because I'm assuming those are completely different to the brackets for the new tips. Yep, you can see there the locations for those two top securing kind of arms is different. So everything else looks the same. The rivet holes is the same. So that'll be straightforward. You can see there's a pre-marked circular hole there. Same spot for that one. Looks like there's no hole for the rivet on that side. So I'll have to drill that once it's in its position, which is fine. So I have no instructions. This is me just going off memory. I did try and find C43 diffuser upgrade on YouTube. I couldn't find a single video. A lot of the ones I found were like C300s that don't have the factory facelift diffuser. So this is kind of, you know, me figuring it out as I go along. The diffuser is kind of the last thing that I need to do. The first thing I have to do is put the brackets on the exhaust tips as well as the centerpiece, assemble it, and then slide it on. So yeah, that's going to be the plan, and I'm going to figure it out. I think I'll put the brackets on the exhausts first and then the centerpiece, and we'll work on assembling this. I'm going to go and get a rag so I have some space to work, and we'll get started with this piece. So unfortunately, this is going to have to come to a stop today. I just unboxed this, or sorry, unwrapped this and started to look at it before I assembled it. And I don't know if you can see in the sunlight, but right in the middle of the diffuser, it's kind of deformed. You see that kind of weird area in the middle? It's deformed, like it got really hot, and there's actually a little bit of, see, it's got like a weird shape to it at the front, and that's right in the middle on the top edge. So I'm not installing that on the car. There's no way I'm going to be happy with that in the long term. So I'm just going to leave my car as it is. I'm already halfway through. The hard work is done. And I'm going to order another diffuser. Hopefully it gets here in the next couple of days. So I'm going to pick this up with you guys once I have another diffuser. All right, so I've actually had a little bit of an epiphany. Since this is the replica diffuser and it has that blemish on the top edge that I'm not happy with, I'm wondering if I can just take the whole closeout piece from the bottom, because it's just screwed on. If I can take that off and transplant it onto my removed factory AMG diffuser. So it just screws in and then it clips across the front because these little sections are removable. I'm going to see if I can do that because I don't mind. I only paid $180 for the whole kit. So even if I'm reusing all of the brackets and the exhaust tips and the diffuser panel, and the closeout panel, I don't mind if I have to reuse this piece. I'd rather use factory AMG parts anyway. So yeah, I'm going to unscrew this and see if it just transplants over. I would rather do that than have to do the whole return process. And, you know, the factory diffuser I know is going to fit perfect. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to unscrew those right now. All right, so unclipped the 3 little clips, took out the screws. Looks really good. So now, just going to pop these little sections out and we'll see if it fits right over. All right, so I just unclipped these 2 little side blades from here, from the back. So now I'm going to snap this guy in from the front and we'll see if everything snaps in just like the factory piece. All right, so crisis averted. That whole lower diffuser piece fits perfectly on the factory diffuser. I've just got to put the screws in at the bottom. I haven't yet drilled it and screwed it. But everything should be straightforward from here on out. Obviously I still have the lower bracket piece installed, so now I just have to install that middle section, put the new tips with the brackets in position, and then snap the whole thing on. So I'm really pleased I had this idea before I went ahead and started doing the return on that one. I think this is going to work out as a better option anyway. This should fit even better. And yeah, it's going to achieve the same look in the end. So yeah, I'll get back with you guys later when I have more time to work on the installation. All right, so this is where I'm up to. As you can see, the new C63 style tips are assembled on their brackets. What I did was I reused the factory hardware on the sides of the bracket here. You can see those plastic snap-on clips that go on the side. I reused it on that side where I could. On this side, the bracket is actually different. It has a pedestal on the back to screw into rather than the factory bracket, which is hollow. So I couldn't reuse the tab on that one, but instead I just used some high quality stainless hardware with matching washer that I got from Home Depot, so I can be sure it's never going to rust. It's going to last for the lifetime this is on the car. I've kept the tips wrapped up for now. Those are super easy to peel off at the end. So those are done. So pretty much these are ready to go on the car now. These will just snap into place and then I'll be able to rivet where I need to with these little brackets, because these rivet onto the bottom of the bumper, and then the diffuser will snap on. So it's tips and brackets go on first. So that's where I'm up to. These look ready to go. I still have the diffuser drying. I cleaned this up, the backing piece with whatever sensor this is. I cleaned that up so it's no longer looking gross. Just didn't want to put dirty parts back on the car, even though it'll never be seen. This is just drying still from me applying those little bits of epoxy. So this is ready to go on. So yeah, we're good to go. I'm going to go snap these on and we'll be almost ready for the diffuser. All right, so I just got the first tip just snapped in. There's one snap clip at the top there, and there's one that's kind of hiding behind this bracket here that's riveted on. So that is in its position. So is that one right there. There is one rivet that needs to go in on the back side here to secure the corner. So that will be going on next. But wow, look at that tip. That looks so good. Let's get the other side on. All right, so there we go. Got the driver's side tip also installed. Those two clips on the top, I got a nice positive snap. I had to put my fingers behind and push them together, and then you got a really loud click once they went all the way through. So I still have to do the rivets on the back And then as soon as this diffuser panel goes in, it'll get a lot stronger. And obviously right now everything's flimsy, but I'll make sure that once I put the diffuser plate on, all the screws on the underside are really, really well put together, so I don't get any vibrations. I don't want anything flapping around or being wobbly once it's installed. So we're looking really good. We'll get back on this later tonight and finish off the install. But look at that. Ooh-wee. We're looking good, guys. So the diffuser looks like it's ready to go on the car now. I just got the whole center bracket piece just snapped along the top here. Got those large clips to snap in. And then on the bottom of the diffuser, you have these smaller ones right here. So I just turned it upside down and snapped all of those in. And then it looks good. I think this is pretty much it. Obviously these are going to go through onto the bottom of the car, and then these will attach to the exhaust brackets. So that will be done from the underside. So I think we're good to go. I'm going to line it up. I'm not going to do this on camera because I don't have a tripod yet, and it's going to be easier to use two hands here. So I'm going to lift it up, just kind of stage it in place and make sure that this slides in the right spot in relation to the exhaust brackets there. So, because that's going to go through that arm right there. It's going to go through there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Slide it on and we'll see how we go. So I'm having a bit of trouble fitting the diffuser exactly assembled as this, because these parts of the clips here on the back of the bracket have to go through the back of this rectangular slot on the bottom of the bumper. And this isn't on the riveted section, this is body colored. This is actually part of the bumper. So you basically have to slide the diffuser up into its spot, and that is supposed to connect in from the back. Well, not only do you have zero access, and I've tried putting my hand up inside to try and flex this kind of backwards and out of the way, I also cannot put any pressure on this to be able to flex this forwards. So what I'm thinking is if I just drill out these two rivets that support the top of these brackets, because these are separate pieces here, they're connected at the top and there's a connection at the bottom. If I make the top of these loose, they might be able to flex away enough for me to be able to fidget them in, and then I'll just put a screw. I'll be able to access the underside here and put a screw through once it's actually in place on the car. I can't think of any other way to do it because I literally have no space to be able to flex this and snap it in from the back. Like once I get this in and close, and I'm, we're talking about 1 centimeter beneath the body line, I just can't get my finger in. It's like, how am I supposed to move that to be able to do it? I've tried using a long screwdriver and basically reaching through the back and kind of pushing on this tab, but absolutely no success. So I think this is my only option. So, yep, gonna drill these two rivets out and see if I can flex these brackets away. You can see it moves. So I think with this removed, this little rivet, it should move plenty and I'll be able to get it in its spot. All right, so I figured out a technique to do it without having to drill those rivets out. I have one side already done, is I actually looped some string around the back of that piece of the exhaust bracket, and it flexes a really good amount once I tug on the string. And that way I can pull it in front of that receiving clip so that I don't have to do any removal of the rivets, and I also don't risk damaging anything. So no pry tools needed. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull this one into position, and then we should be good to snap in the diffuser. So I just finished snapping the diffuser clips in across the top edge. It really is difficult to get those clips to snap in. That's a factory upper diffuser piece, and it still took me probably about 15 minutes of just working on the clips. The side pieces went in just fine. That part that kind of hooks through and slides into position was fine. All of these clips snapped in easily, but the middle section just fought me. I don't know what was the matter, but it was not going in. So I ended up having to put my hand up behind the bumper and then push against the blue center section, and then with my other hand push the black diffuser, and now all of it is snapped in all the way. As you can see, definitely a nice time to give a clean up here, some water spots and such from behind where the license plate bracket goes, but it's looking super good. So I'm going to unwrap the exhaust tips, finish up the couple of screws I have on the corners on the underside, and I'll show you guys what she looks like once everything is finished up very shortly. All right, I'm all finished. You ready to see the end result? How much better does that look? Those larger C63 exhaust tips just make the whole back of the car look 100 times more aggressive. I didn't hate the C43 factory round tips, but I just felt like I was missing out because there was a lot of wasted space where they had that blanking plate, whereas these tips completely fill the whole of the diffuser. When I had my C450, the C63 diffuser, which I installed, which was identical to this one, was my favorite exterior upgrade. It just made the back of the car just look completely different. With this car, same thing, just massive upgrade. Even though I already had the gloss black diffuser, having the different tips and having this closeout panel at the bottom, it just completely changes the whole appearance of the diffuser. It makes the car look lower because it now frames the bottom of the car there, and it also, I think, complements that larger spoiler now, having the more aggressive diffuser. So we do have the factory Mercedes upper diffuser panel, so obviously fitment is just as it was when I removed it. We have the Chinese replica exhaust tips, which from previous experience, these hold up just fine. Fitment was no issues either. We have the Chinese replica diffuser bottom piece, which fits up without any problems. I did also put some dabs of epoxy on the back of the clips to make sure the sides of the diffuser panel never come loose. So that will be good for the lifetime of the diffuser. If we go to the underside, all of the bolts are back in the spots where they should. You can see if we go around to the side here, stainless hardware has been used. I also put a washer on the exhaust brackets to make sure that they have a really solid mount. I didn't use any of the hardware that came in the kit. I just got some high-grade stainless from Home Depot to make sure that the hardware is good quality and doesn't start rusting and falling apart. I made sure all of the sensors and wiring is clipped back where it should. You can see that upper sensor has a bracket there that needs to be snapped onto the back of the diffuser. I also tucked the wiring loom at the top. It has some little hooks that it has to follow. So I made sure as I was snapping the diffuser in that that was in its place. So everything at the bottom is just as it was when I started. So it does look original. You would not know that I've been underneath there. And the back of the car now looks complete. I mean, there's really not much else that I can do to improve it. We have the aero piece, kind of gloss black side scoops there. We have the C63 diffuser. We have the Rentec carbon spoiler. So as far as the back goes, I don't think anything else needs to be added that would really do any improvement to the back of the car. I think this is about as perfect as it gets. You can see with my aftermarket wheels, the offsets are right at the edge of the fender, so that adds, adds a nice bit of tire that you can see right there. Much better than the factory wheels that are really inset and just wouldn't look as aggressive. Having the more aggressive aftermarket wheels definitely adds to the rear view as well. So there we go, project is finished. Thank you guys for tuning in for another upgrade. I feel like this car is getting better and better as the parts get added. So very, very pleased with this. Highly recommend it, and hopefully anybody else who has a C-Class that is looking to upgrade their diffuser, this video helps them. There are a few other videos out there, but none of them that were specific to the C43 or detailed enough, where they were talking about issues with those reverse mount clips and showing you know, the hardware and such that I used. So hopefully it's a little bit more informative than the other ones that I'd seen. And hopefully I have more cool parts coming in the future and figure out what else I want to do to this car. So stay tuned for more coming really soon.